last year following accusations of a mercenary incursion and Trinidad's support for the US seizure of a Venezuelan oil tanker. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Kamala Prasad, who has previously been at loggerheads with former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, has now expressed optimism about Venezuela's future, led by the United States. All right, we're now joined by Annalisa Lowe, former diplomat of Trinidad and Tobago. She's the former ambassador of the country to China. Ambassador Lowe, thank you very much for being with us. Let me begin by asking you about the kind of understanding Trinidad and Tobago and the United States had with regard to the strike in Venezuela, the arrest of Nicolas Maduro, and how is this important in the country's long-term strategy?
Well, thanks so much for having me, Richard. It's great to be here. Well, firstly, Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Kamala Prasad has denied any involvement or participation in the U.S. military airstrikes that took place in Caracas on January 3rd, which also led to the subsequent arrest and detention of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. However, in the lead up to the military airstrikes, which took place in the Caribbean region, which also resulted in about over 80 people being killed, including some Trinidad and Tobago nationals, Prime Minister Kamala Prasad has also indicated her explicit support for U.S. actions in the region on the premises of it being to curb transnational criminal networks and also narco trafficking in the region. With Trinidad and Tobago's granted approvals, there were the movement of military aircraft in Trinidad and Tobago's airspace, access to Trinidad and Tobago's facilities, airports as well. And also, as you rightfully mentioned, the installation of radar equipment and intelligence tracking equipment as well in Tobago, which also resulted in in a visit paid by General Dan Kane to Prime Minister Kamala Prasad in the name of regional security as well.
Right. How do you think Trinidad and Tobago is going to cooperate with the United States in the days to come? Are we possibly going to see more strikes on Venezuela and maybe Venezuelan oil tankers as well?
I think that the government of Trinidad and Tobago is going to continue to support the US's position in terms of its narrative to curb transnational criminal networks and also narco trafficking in the region. I do not foresee any other strikes on Venezuelan territory. However, it is a very precarious time for the Caribbean region and particularly small island developing nations because a dangerous precedent has been set in terms of the intervention in the internal affairs of another country and of things that affect the sovereignty of another nation.